All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 82 of the Always Race Day podcast, presented by the Carl Auto Group. I'm here with Damon. I'm Connor Ferguson. Before we get into things, as always, I have my ad read to do. I don't usually announce it, but if you don't know me, I'm Connor Ferguson. And every other car dealership, Damon, pick one.
Uh, any of them.
Okay,
I don't know.
all
I
of them.
really don't.
They are going to come to your house, and they're going to beat down your mailbox, and they're going to break your gutter, and then they're going to suggest that you need a new car. And you know who's not going to do that? It's the Carl Auto Group. There's too many damn political commercials on my damn television right now, Damon. Sent out a tweet about this today. Every enemy of whoever the person is, or specifically just one, whoever they're running against. There's no ad that is positive to what this political character is putting out. It doesn't say what they stand for. It doesn't say anything good. It just says what's so bad about the other person. So I thought today maybe I put a spin on that, but I want to tell you guys that Carl Auto Group is probably the best damn auto group you're going to have selling you cars. What do you think, Damon?
Yes, they are. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I
Okay.
really wanted to go into the political thing, but I couldn't. It was trying to accuse other car dealerships of what they're going to do. It was either very far across the line or not close enough to the line that it would be funny.
Yeah, I think you missed on that one. I
Ah,
think it wasn't close enough.
I mean, we can restart.
No, we got to keep going.
I wish we could restart the NASCAR race from today or the developments of what the next gen car ended up being at road courses. I got to say, Damon's right, but we'll get into everything. I wanted to start with our first segment. It's just simply let Damon cook. Kyle Larson was eliminated from the NASCAR playoffs today. Go ahead, Damon. Floor is open to you.
I mean, he said what the season came down to. Um, Mistakes and just bad luck. And I guess at the end of the day, when teams don't have control over making their own cars or building their own cars and you put it at somebody else's hands, I think Kevin Harvick said it best. They're cheap ass cars. And, parts seem to be breaking a lot more this year than I think that they were initially anticipating, which is kind of odd because of how quote unquote durable this car is, which has shown its good side, but it's also reared its ugly head in a couple of different ways too. So, at the end of the day, for the Larson deal, it is what it is. They thought at the time, because of how terrible the race was, they thought at the time they were good, taking all their time, taking the laps, and making sure that the toe link was fixed. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and they ended up having to pay the price because NASCAR created mass entertainment at the end.
Okay. All right. Oh, whoa. Jeez. You threw a hot take at the end. You're just throwing it in the back door there, like I'm not going to notice you throwing a axe bomb in my living room in middle school.
Big fan of backdoor covers here.
Oh man. All right. We never even talked about our weekends, but we'll get to that in the middle. How about that? We'll switch
Well,
it up again.
my weekend's not great.
I
So
know, neither was mine. I was just going to complain about stuff. And the funny thing is, the only thing going good for me right now is the Vikings. So thank God NHL season starts Tuesday and the Stars play on Thursday. I'm excited for that. Um, what I wanted to say about this car is it is surprising to me how many things went differently, especially all of this in the back half of the season, right? The only thing in the front half was the tire issues. That was the only, and I'm sorry if my voice is going up and down. We try to fix that in post. If you're watching on YouTube, you're getting the full experience because I just don't know how to control the volume. Anyways, volume of my voice, not podcast stuff. But, anyways, all these issues arose later on in the year that we're seeing the safety stuff. We're seeing the, oh, this is a glaringly bad road course race. We had Martinsville. It wasn't great, but Bristol Dirt's not like a short track race, and Bristol Dirt was good this year. And you see it, you're finding out. I think in the past, NASCAR has looked at their cars and what they're doing, and a lot of the things they've done to them haven't been. It's like, okay, there's a risk for this, there's this, but we kind of know how this is going to behave. It feels to me like this car has more question marks than any car we've seen in the past 20 years.
Well, that's because the people that are building the cars now, or supplying the parts to build the cars, haven't been building race cars in the past 20 years. That's the difference. Is NASCAR has basically taken away all the creativity in building a race car away from the teams, and that's why we're seeing more problems. Because I can guarantee you, if the teams had more say and more control over the parts that are coming out on this car, we wouldn't be having near the issues, I don't think. And I think they would have found some of these problems a lot sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we get into what happened with this race, I feel like the car is not. I don't know. It's still definitely a forefront of the issue, but most of the stuff is at the very least when we're talking about Kyle Larson being eliminated, stuff like that. It was stuff that was raced out, so that helps me with the result of it. But we have a lot to cover. Christopher Bell won the race today, and that was not really that close to the biggest news of the day.
I mean, I would say it's the biggest coming in. He had to win, and he did. I mean,
No, it feels to me like Larson being eliminated is bigger. But this is
I
where I
I,
come in.
I think Bell being, had Bowman not had his injury, Bell would have been number 8 going into the weekend, in my opinion. And so for him to walk it off when he needed it most, he took tires at a gutsy time in the race when they called that last or the second to last caution. And so he benefited from some gutsy calls. So I would say out of the whole day, he was the one that was probably the biggest story. I think the story that'll get talked about the most is going to be Larson missing out on it. But I think the biggest story that people really should take away is that Bell walked in with only one way of advancing, and he did it.
All right, that's fair. I think should be and being talked about are two different things, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's just where I'm coming from because I agree with you on that faction. I just think I think more people are talking about Larson being eliminated, and props to him. But this is where I come in. I'm going to save the day. Kyle Larson and the number 500 Motorsports team are still in the owners' playoffs. There you go, Damon.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
No, you're welcome. You're still in the owners' playoffs. It's the OP, the original playoffs, man.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Oh no
no.
no no no! You cannot be a real Larson fan and not care about this. I won't let you.
I it's a driver's title is what you get awarded for at the end of the day.
Well, when Chase Elliott, if William Byron wins the title, I'm going to call it a Disney Mickey Mouse title. But when Chase Elliott is in victory lane at Phoenix, and Kyle Larson's car pulls up next to him, and they take the Chase won the driver's title and Kyle brought home the owner's title, then I would like you to remember this podcast.
That's fine. Please. I at what who won the owner's title last year?
Kyle Larson,
Who won it the year before?
Chase Elliott.
The owner's title?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
number 9 team. Yeah,
Are you sure?
not 100%, but pretty sure.
I'm just pointing out the points of
We
not
haven't had a playoff where drivers have gone in and out of race cars.
right, but that doesn't mean that the owner points are different.
The owner points pay more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. It's
You,
owner.
you didn't know that?
I don't really give a
No,
shit.
no, admit you didn't know that.
No, I'm not. I don't know
What
that.
I would do if I were
I
you
don't
is
really give a fuck.
I need
To
you
be
to go on a big.
honest.
I need you to go on a big parade about how the owners' playoffs matter more because they pay more.
They don't. They don't matter more.
Say no one gives a shit about the Kings Royal compared to the Houston High Bank Nationals.
I think they're equal across.
Well, now you're not. You're just not being fun. I need you. I need you to embrace.
No, I'm not here for entertainment
We're
like you
making. We're
in
making the
NASCAR.
best of both worlds.
I'm here for realistic, unlike you in NASCAR. You guys are here for
If
entertainment.
Kyle Larson didn't end up 5 laps down today, he would be in the next round of the playoffs. Now, is that because he broke a toe link and that part was
No,
pretty
it's because
break evidently?
NASCAR
Yes.
for a sign.
Is it because that Kyle Larson went into the wall on his own accord?
Yeah,
All he had to do was
that's
stick
how
out the wall. He just made a mistake. And
that's what I'm saying at the start. I
the
said
big
that at the
thing,
very beginning. I said he said that he made mistakes. Nothing to take away outside of the fact that Briscoe heads up beat him at the end of the day on the track.
we'll get. Hold
However,
on. Wait. Before I'm not interrupting you to disagree. I, when I'm saying a lot of the stuff I'm saying, Damon, and you get caught up into this when it's very important to you, and I understand it because it can come off differently. I'm talking mostly to the common people that don't realize any of this. I know you're smart enough to realize everything I'm saying and disagree or not. I don't strongly disagree with you on anything other than the race today sucked. Not
it was
because of
terrible.
anything. The first 104 laps stunk. It
The
was
whole race.
terrible. It was awful. Okay. But when you look at what Larson said afterwards, that's struggling finding words right now. Had a family reunion, just got back from it. So thanks for praying with me, I suppose. But what Larson said after the race is stuff that like Bubba Wallace got hounded for it earlier this year. Different drivers would get made fun of for it, and no one cared when Larson said it because of how good he is. And I think that rubbed off on me that hey, Larson said I made mistakes today. It stunk. I got to do better. I let my team down. That's just it is what it is. And I think no one said anything. And there's different ways to kind of take away. And this is kind of the alternate takeaway from it. But like you you don't see Larson humbled like that very much, and it says a lot.
I,
But I agree with him.
I I guess I'm confused, but yeah, he he knew he made mistakes throughout this season. The team knew they made mistakes throughout the season. He was the best car at the Coke 600, and he had to come through the field 5 different times because of mistakes on pit road. Probably was one of the best cars at Texas, but because of pit road, had to come through the field again. Was one of the best cars at Kansas both times and had to come through the field. So the mistakes are obviously glaring. That's a big thing, but I don't yeah.
No,
I
no,
don't
I mean,
know how I don't know how that is in comparison to some of the other points you brought up with it, but I mean I maybe I see it differently, I guess.
no, you're fine. I just think that when drivers say like, oh, like when they're strongly saying like I screwed that up, that was on me, and it's not like in relation to a wreck. Um, I bring up Bubba because it's the easiest example to draw, but I mean, you see it about once a month or so. Someone will say something like that, and people are like, "Why is this guy feeling sorry for himself?" It's a weird thing to do, and it's like Larson's never gonna have people like that. The people that were going at Larson today were people that are like, "Ha ha ha, the racist is out," and it's like, shut the fuck up, you know. Um, I just thought it said like it's the same with Elliot. They try to take like he didn't want the cameraman over there. What do you think of that, by the way?
Thought it was kind of weird.
I did.
I
I you know. I'm
It
not.
doesn't make any sense. I
Yeah, I'm
don't
not
like
going. I'm not going to like pester him about it. Like I don't. It is very weird. I'm right there
right.
with you. It's odd, but like that's not like my reasoning for calling anyone a dick.
Right. I do think people are right though in the fact that if it's Kyle Busch that does that, the whole world's burning to the ground right now because of it. And we forgot who even won the race. Because we've seen it in the past where that's been the case.
We saw Harvick do that in the fight with Elliott at Bristol, and it still kind of found its way around. I don't think it was that important. Um,
I mean, Kyle Busch told off the media at Las Vegas Motor Speedway a few years
no,
ago.
no, no, no. I know that.
Everybody remembers that entire thing, and they don't even remember who won the race.
I saw plenty of people hammering Elliott for it. I just didn't. Him and Byron didn't have any
That's what I don't
impact on that
understand.
race.
Was
Yeah,
that's why I don't understand why he would wave them off.
yeah.
They
I just thought it was weird, but that's the end of it.
it made zero sense.
My point of what I was saying was just Larson's like a good enough racer and top three in the Cup Series. Would you say Chase, Kyle, and Kyle Busch?
Oh yeah, I mean he's top three for sure.
Okay, all right. I'm glad we agree on that. But it's crazy how quickly he got there. That's what I was trying to. I was trying to wrap it in. I didn't do a good job of that, so that's on me. Um, Chase Briscoe. Okay, Austin Cindric wipes out. It kind of seems like okay, well now Kyle Larson seems to be safe, and in a lap and a half, Briscoe gained like 6 spots, and then it very much looked like on my television that Cole Custer took that corner very easy, where Chase Briscoe passed him. Austin
He
Dillon was
locked,
behind him.
he locked the brakes up. The tires smoked. He locked the brakes up.
Did
It's
you
pretty.
think he locked up, or did you? Or you're talking about Briscoe?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Briscoe
Briscoe
went. Briscoe
dove
was going to
in.
go hard in that corner either way.
He dove in there, and Custer stopped midway down the back straightaway. It was very apparent what he was doing.
And
And
this
I'm
is
not saying that because it was a Larson deal. I would have said that for anybody across the board. That was if you're gonna do it, go do it a little bit different manner.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what you want him to do differently. Honestly, I thought if you're going to,
Well, you just stay
I
in the way. You don't have to stop. Just stay in the way.
yeah, I'm just saying when I would if I were to manufacture a race or a result, and have my teammate pass me, that's probably how I do it. Is just slow into a corner with 6 guys in line behind me.
So you're in favor of the move?
No, not what I'm saying. Not what
Well,
I'm
that's
saying.
what it sounded like.
If
That's
I
what
was if I was going to do that, if you were going to do that, wouldn't you do the same thing?
you stay in the way.
Yeah,
I think we've seen it. I think we've seen it quite a few times where you don't have to stop to make a difference. I think you look at last year at Atlanta when Ross was a lap down, and he basically just took the line of Kyle away from Kurt, and Kurt drove around the outside and took the preferred line of Kyle Busch at Atlanta last year.
yeah.
And Ross didn't stop and really didn't do anything quote unquote wrong in that setting, but he didn't stop his car on going into a turn.
Yeah, and those didn't stick out too much to me, but I think it was just because it didn't affect the season like this one does, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it
As
doesn't matter
weird that
because
is to say.
it's not really gonna affect the season regardless what they find anyway
Well,
on it.
I mean, it does affect it. It essentially knocks Larson out of the playoffs. Now, if they would have tied, Briscoe on the tiebreaker would have gotten it. I I feel like the tiebreaker rule should just be NASCAR calls me and asks which driver's better, Chase Briscoe or Larson.
Well, that's a bad idea.
What do you mean? Landon Castle would be in the final four.
Let's see exactly.
So NASCAR issued a statement tonight. I have a lot of jeez, beef with this statement. Uh, and I'll get to it after I read it. I just want to read it in full. It says NASCAR is reviewing data, video, and radio transmissions from the 41 car. That's Cole Custer's car. Following its incident on the backstretch during the final lap, NASCAR will communicate the results of the review early this week. That's not tonight, Sunday. That's probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Any potential penalties would not affect the round of 8 field. This is my issue with that, because William Byron had his 25-point penalty for directly impacting the results of a race. My words, not NASCAR's. And NASCAR didn't appeal this penalty. It was the appeal board, which is unaffiliated, which I don't frankly understand either. I feel like your sport should have your own rules panel that you are a part of. Frankly, I don't know enough about that setup to really hammer them about that, but that should have had some kind of points penalty, since you didn't notice during the race, which is we've talked about how glaring that is anyway. But to say that, like, hey, no matter what we find reviewing this data and reviewing the audio of their radio transmission, the field of eight's not changed. I think that's BS. 3 hours ago, we had Kyle Larson, and obviously this is a part of it, knocked out of the playoffs in part because a call on William Byron was appealed and came back. So if that 25-point penalty stays, Byron was above the cutoff by 11 points. Even if it was a 14-point penalty, which is how many spots he would have lost on a lap during the race, that still would have changed things up. So that directly impacted the round we're just getting out of. And now this thing that you're talking about is for sure not impacting anything, because it's weird to me that you say that before you review the tape.
What's kind of dumb, in my opinion, on this whole thing is, why are we even doing it? If it's not going to affect anything, why are you giving people the opportunity? Why are you giving people the opportunity to put you on blast again for another week? 4 out of the last 5 weeks, NASCAR's been in the news for some random reason.
Something that's not good, bad publicity.
And now you're going to do it again right here, this opportunity to give fans, to put you on blast. And, you went out of your way in 2013 to add another driver into the playoffs then, after the whole...
Don't call Jeff Gordon another driver.
Just saying.
You're crossing lines here. He was rightfully added to the playoffs that year.
He was added to the playoffs based because of the exact same thing that we're going to search tonight.
So me being a Gordon fan, I agree with how NASCAR handled it. I think I'm in the minority generally of the diehard people that follow NASCAR.
Extremely.
Someone else manufactured a race. Jeff Gordon was the victim of it, and he benefited from their penalty, and they didn't benefit from it.
Right. What I don't like is...
That's what I think, like, hey, if you find on that radio that the 41 team and the 14 team were working, they're like, hey, Chase needs points, pull over. I don't really agree on team orders generally. I think in this situation, like, I don't know, I thought it was kind of blatant, and I'd probably say I'd be in favor of giving the spot to Larson without, like, seeing anything and knowing anything. I would. That's not going to happen. Don't.
Right.
I don't.
That's what I'm saying, though.
To hold out hope for that.
That's what I'm saying, though, is now you've set a precedent because of team orders way back when. So people are going to bring that up, whether people want, whether diehards in the sport, whether media in the sport think that's right or not, it's going to be brought up. Even though NASCAR's under new leadership and all that since that time. But now fast forward to this, if you're not going to change anything, why make it public? Like, don't put yourself in a position to give people a reason to jump you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Because we'll come on here next week after they come out of this and say, this is what happened. We thought this. Well, now we're going to be sitting here talking. Well, they probably should have let Kyle Larson back into the playoff. And why didn't they do that? Why didn't, and all this and that. And everybody across the whole country is going to start talking about, well, why did they do this? And why didn't they do that? Instead of just letting it go in this sense. You could come out silently and say it if you wanted to, but there's no reason to make it public if you're not going to change the outcome of what happened.
Yeah, you're right there. And this is why I bring up the owners playoffs. I think we could all get a hoot and a holler out of watching the owners playoffs. No?
No, I'm not
Sorry
buying the owner's stuff.
if I look like I'm disconnected. I'm there. I just got a thing from my verify. I'm getting like security notices from my credit card.
Well, you shouldn't be using your credit card in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I'm very confused. I'm sorry. Did you have any other takeaways from the race? Sorry.
I mean, from the race
I'm
itself,
trying to make sure someone didn't take my credit card information because it's showing me a
from
lot of security notices.
from the race itself, yeah, the race was absolutely garbage. And then we had a manufactured caution to make it even more garbage, in my opinion, because it benefited who I root for on a Sunday, or not benefited, but destroyed who I root for on Sundays. But regardless, even prior to the whole fiasco with Larson's toe link, it turned the race was garbage. It was what I have been saying on here for a really long time. The road course racing is terrible. And when you look up and all of a sudden AJ Allmendinger, who just took the lead, has a 4-second lead over the guy he was just battling door to door with, and has a 12-second lead over the fifth place car and a 24-second lead over the 13th place car. It's like, this is not good. And how many times do we watch sports car racing and see those cars kind of strung out a little bit, and it's all spaced out more than what we would like it to. And now you've basically taken away 2, possibly 3 of the sport's best racing that we've had and in our entire lives, between short track and road course. And I personally would throw super speedway racing in that same conversation. And it's now become basically pathetic in that sense. So I didn't like it, thought it was a boring race. I didn't watch the race. I listened to it on PRN the whole way home. And it, when they sound bored is when you know that the race really sucks, because those guys do such a good job. The radio guys do such a good job to make things sound interesting, even when the race is terrible. And they sounded bored. I mean, they got to a point in the race where they just sounded really bored and didn't even want to be a part of it.
Hey, sorry, we're gonna pause this. I don't want to ruin the flow of this. I'm gonna remember what you said. I gotta take this phone call real quick, make sure all's good. All right, guys. Sorry about the pause. You didn't hear any ads in the middle of it, so that's my making it up to you, right? Um, no, I thought the race. I don't think it's like sports cars because I feel like it's much easier to pass in sports cars. It's more dependent on what team you're driving for, what car you're in, what drivers in the car. I feel like that sport is more driver dependent. I don't think today, I thought the drivers that are good on road courses still succeeded, but that's usually going to happen at a road course. It was just so hard to pass. The acceleration out of the corner looks really slow. It looks like it's too slow to make any difference up in a lot of the areas of what the Roval is. I think it kind of brings that out in the car. And I think that's kind of where it's where you don't want to be. Yeah, you need more horsepower. You need acceleration out of those corners. You need to make sure every part of the racetrack matters. As weird as that sounds to say, but it was bad. There was not very many green flag passes today.
No, not even in the middle of the field. We're used to seeing, even in some bad races, when the leader is out in clean air and second place is having a hard time passing the leader and we're aero blocking. In the back of the pack, there's there's cars being passed, and today was not the case. If you were in 25th, the best that you probably got out of that run was maybe 20th if you were lucky. You know, it did the best drivers show up? Yeah, they did, but they couldn't do anything. They're just because they're at the front doesn't mean anything. They're at the front because of just being at the front.
Track position.
And the teams, the cars are terrible. I mean, they're bad. They're bad cars.
I think we traded essentially this season what used to be the most exciting types of racing are now not, to make the boring races more exciting. And when I say it like that, it's a net negative. Do I think this car is a complete failure? Not yet. But I think this is like the biggest offseason in NASCAR history when it comes to what's going to happen with these cars.
Why do you think it's not a complete failure?
Because the super speedways are still fine. Talladega was great. You look at that. You look at every mile and a half, which makes up most of the schedule in any given year, and still makes up most of the schedule. Is the mile and a halves were great this year, minus Texas. We took out. There's 5 short track races. There's 6 road courses.
So you're okay with having 11 bad races out of the year?
I'm not okay with it in the future, but I'm okay with it the first time around. I would take this over the 550 package 17 times out of 10.
Again, 550 package is horsepower. The cars did not do that. The physical demeanor of the car.
That was what NASCAR did with those cars.
With the engine package.
I understand, but we can't change that, me and you.
I get that.
This is what NASCAR, I'm going off NASCAR's decision to run this engine package with this car and to run that engine package with that car. I take this over that.
Yeah, you take it. And now we also have 2 drivers out because of head injuries and another because of a fractured foot.
Well, don't say that I'm in favor of injuries. I don't like that part.
We haven't had we had one driver in, like, I'm trying to think back when the other time we had somebody hurt and out of a car for a really long time, and I can't think of one.
Kyle Busch was hurt in the old car for a really long time, breaking his leg.
Right.
Michael, it drastically altered his career in that car for a really long time. NASCAR made some safety changes. NASCAR's enhanced tracks. I hope this offseason is huge too, because that's what they need to do. But go ahead.
What I'm getting at is we haven't had multiple drivers in one season get hurt in these cars. Ryan Newman was out in 2020 because of his accident. Kyle Busch was in 2015. Annette was shortly thereafter that. But those were in separate seasons across the board. We've had now 3 drivers that we know of. I guarantee because they're athletes, they're competitors. There is a driver in that garage that took a hit this year that probably should not have been racing the next week.
Well, either that or guys battling injuries that you can't see. If you the NHL is great at this. The NHL comes out after a team is eliminated from the playoffs, and it doesn't get the coverage it deserves because the only people that care are the losing team's fans. That's the one thing they have left to root for. And it's like, okay, so, and I'm not rooting for an injury, but the Stars lose some playoff series. I think it was the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. The reason I said some, I didn't mean to. Actually, yeah, the Stars are a dynasty like that. We lost one of our Stanley Cup series, and they came out and they're like, Rupe Hentz has been playing with a completely shattered foot. It's fractured and broken 2 places. And it's just like badass. Love that guy. And, I don't think it'd be great PR if NASCAR did that after this year, but it makes people realize like what athletes go through just to get on the field and just to help their teams.
So it's just what's bothersome to me is just like Chase Elliott said, how do we take steps back in safety when we're building for the future? And now not only are we taking steps back, but the product at the foundation of this sport, right? The short tracks in this sport is what NASCAR was built on. We're built on small short track racing.
So do you agree? Yes. So to build on that, do you agree that this offseason in fixing what was short tracks and what were road courses this year, do you agree that that is the forefront?
It has to be.
Aside from safety, we can't get canceled and not say safety is number one. But what they do to this car this offseason is going to very drastically alter the public perception. If there's another clunker of a race like that next year at any short track or any road course, NASCAR is going to hear what today was times 1,000.
Yeah, I've been saying that since Martinsville.
It's just not. It's not like a next week fix. It's take 3 months.
I think it's a little bit easier of a fix than what you actually think, though, because if you give these cars more horsepower, it's a little bit easier of a fix.
Yeah, I think, and that's what Bozy was saying. He said a shorter tire surface maybe or wheelbase. I don't know what if I forget the
width of the tire. The width of the tire has something to do with it.
Yeah. So he said if you do that, or if you give them a little bit more horsepower, it goes a long way. Do it.
If you give them more horsepower, it now puts it back in to the driver's hands. And I thought that's what they were doing with this car in the first place. This was supposed to go back into the driver's hands, and I don't think it really has.
The 550 took so much horsepower away that even giving them a little bit back, like they did with this car, it doesn't make that much of a difference because 550 was such a low number.
And the fact that everybody could build their own cars. Everybody had their own intricacies in their own cars within the rule book that allowed them to do these different things. Now they're given everything from these vendors. And so now the car itself doesn't have those ways of finding an extra edge. And so when all the drivers are good, like most in the Cup Series are, plus when you've got all the parts, now everything's equal across the board. And so you're going to have all this equals going because we don't have enough driver input.
Yeah, you're definitely right with. I'm struggling with words today. Gosh, family reunions tear me up. You're completely correct. I agree with you. I think they need to listen to the guys, and they had a safety meeting this weekend. It lasts about 75 minutes. Some people walked away happy, I guess, and some weren't so happy with it. The reporting,
Ross Chastain was happy.
They're reporting like, hey, some drivers are happy and some aren't. Like, Okay, that tells me even less than just not telling me it at all.
I
Not
can get
criticize. I'd probably say the same thing because that's probably what they were giving you. But just give me examples, because like, yeah, any meeting you go into, I could probably say that, and like 95% of the time, be true.
yeah, yeah, that's a fact.
So I was surprised with some of the stuff out of that, but just go fix your stuff. You got a problem. It's broke. You got to fix it. So fix it.
And what's bothersome to me is they've known it's a problem. Like this isn't just happened. Most of the issues are glaring because people are more vocal about it now in the back half of the year. But we knew that the short track package was crap at Martinsville. We knew that.
We didn't even
We
watch the race.
right.
We were together. We were together. We watched like
Like
probably
the
four
last
minutes
20
worth of
laps.
highlights in the last 20 laps. Yeah.
Yeah. And we knew that the race at Coda wasn't that great if it wasn't for that last restart. I mean, across the board, the race wasn't fantastic. We knew that Road America wasn't that great of a race because third place on back was 18 seconds off the pace. So they know that these are problems. So why are we not trying to do something mid-season or throughout the year to help fix it? They've done it in the past. They brought completely different tires to tracks because the first time they went there, it's been bad. They've had changes on cars. They've changed parts. They've done all these things in the past. Why are we not doing it this year with this new car if we're trying to actually make a difference? Like this would have been the year to throw everything that you possibly have at this car. You have to.
For whatever reason, and that could be because it's not that easy to fix. My original hypothesis, which could be wrong, right? That's a reason. They could also be trying to save face for whatever reason. I don't.
If this is their way of saving face, they're very bad at PR.
I I don't know what it is. I'm throwing stuff out there. We're not going to find the answer tonight. We're not going to find it next week, right? This offseason is going to be very important for them. I think it's also important that the title winner isn't doesn't feel like a fluke.
Okay, so going off of that, while you bring that up, then who would you consider being a fluke winner?
I'm glad you asked, Damon. Uh, Austin Keeney asks also who advances to Phoenix. So this will transition perfectly into this part. Ross Chastain would definitely be a fluke winner for me. Um, I think you agree, and I think everyone on the podcast knows why. Chase Briscoe, because of today, definitely would feel like a fluke winner to me. And the other guys who advanced, Christopher Bell is having a fantastic playoff. I don't believe he'd be a fluke winner. I think some might. I don't believe that. I think William Byron he'd be my third. He would also be my fluke winner because I don't think he should have advanced today.
See, I think he is not necessarily. I wouldn't consider him a fluke winner.
And I don't hate William Byron. I'm a big Jeff Gordon fan. Whoever's in the 24, I'm not going to hate them. But the dude altered the results of a race, wasn't penalized for it, and now is advancing to the next round when the defending champ is the guy who's knocked out, who's also your teammate, which is also ironic as hell.
Yeah.
I don't think Byron should win the title. That's
I think I still think that there should have been at least place penalty based on how many that Denny lost. So if it was 14, dock him 15 points.
right.
Whatever it was. I don't understand. What bothers me is the is we're I don't know how to put this, but with that whole deal is again, don't put yourself in a bad light if you don't have to. So um just stand your penalty. I know it comes from a different board of appeals and everything, but stand your penalty. Just you've got to. in a situation like that. I'm a big William Byron fan. Like I do like William Byron genuinely. But what he did was wrong at that sense. And Denny was the one that got penalized. I can't believe I'm standing up for Denny Hamlin, but here we are, yet again. And the older he gets, the more he's actually likable. It's kind of crazy, but
I think any owner driver gets a lot more respect for me and a lot more fandom just because they're in the same room as the guys we complain about and the people that fund all the guys that we cheer for.
well, you would think that they are being heard, but that apparently wasn't the case in the RTA meeting. But that's on a different conversation. But as far as fluke winners, though, I can't put Byron there because I think the racetracks that are coming up suit his style extremely well. Martinsville, he was the winner there in the spring, and Homestead, he won there last year, and did it quickly. So there's two tracks in the next round that I can't consider him a fluke winner, regardless of the outcome.
If
Of
he
what
won the next four races, he wouldn't be a fluke winner. Let me get my point of that across too, because I'm trying to. I would say if it was like a guy who snuck in
right.
the Martinsville race and snuck into the cutoff, and then there was the top three guys were fighting in a green-white checkered and all took each other out, and the fourth guy won.
Kind of like Joey Logano did in 2018.
A little bit like that, but that was Joey was also in the right spot. I don't fault Joey for his title.
Okay.
Not in the same way.
I mean, we all know that if Joey
I
doesn't
think
if Joey doesn't wreck Carl Edwards at Homestead, Carl Edwards wins the 2018 title.
right. I don't remember it as well as
I guess that was 2016. That's my bad.
yeah, you're fine. Yeah, just because how young I was, and that was right after. It, honestly, I think I was celebrating the Cubs, and I was like, I don't even care that Carl Edwards lost this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the reaction I had if that was 2016.
But regardless, I think the fluke winner deal for the 8 that are left, I think really Briscoe kind of he's the one for me. I would say I would say Chastain to an extent. However, he does run up front quite often. He hasn't here as of late, but he has often at points throughout this season, which is ironic coming from me to say that. But I wouldn't consider it a fluke, but I would because it's still Ross Chastain, and there's stuff that comes with that. But I would say really out of the 8 advancing, it's Briscoe is the only one that I would consider a fluke winner. And if he were to somehow get to Phoenix, that's the track he won to get into the playoffs. So it certainly gets there.
Before I set my picks for the championship 4, I want to say screw you, Tyler Reddick and Chris Williams. Put him along with Chris Williams. Tyler Reddick is his guy, so I have to include him on this. It's not.
I don't think. I think his number 1 is the old number 9, and his number 2 is the 8 ball.
No, I understand that, but I have to throw some shade at Chris here, and it's not for the reason you think. I don't care that Elliott didn't win the race today. If I had bet him today, I probably would care a little bit more.
Like Chris did.
Yes, exactly like that. But Tyler Reddick took away from all of NASCAR country another Chase Elliott versus Kevin Harvick on-track incident at the Roval. And I really wanted Chase Elliott to just wipe out Kevin Harvick. He's advanced to the next round. Any points penalty you give him isn't going to affect the next round. I think Chase would have definitely sent him.
I don't know. That's
And how NASCAR is handling this today, what happened in the race today is not going to affect the next round. Chase absolutely could have sent him, and it would not have affected anything. And I think he would have, honestly.
I'm sure he would have tried. I'm sure he would have
Oh,
tried.
I was laughing before it happened, and then he spun, and I'm like, God.
I'm sure he would have tried.
I was more ticked off because we didn't get another little faction episode of that rivalry, and we got what we got. All right, let's do playoff picks. Championship 4. Do you think Chase Elliott makes it to the next round?
Yes.
That's one of your 4. Okay, so we got 3 more. I'm going to pick another one that you want to pick. Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, he's not in the playoffs, Damon. My bad. We can
I can hang up quickly.
We can do owners playoff points if you want.
No, because the owners championship's fake.
Dude, you have to stand up for it. I wish this honestly. I almost wish this was Chase Elliott because I would just sit here and claim the owners points title is just way more. I would have so much more fun with it than you're doing. You're choosing to be
stupid. The owner's title is stupid. I think it should be all the teams combined versus and everybody in the organization. Make more fun. Individual.
How would you do that though? Like average finish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, then there's no playoff grid though, is there? What would you do?
You go traditional standings.
Oh, that's stupid. No, we need playoffs.
Oh my God. Yeah, see, here we go again. We're in NASCAR on the same page. They're all in it for entertainment. They don't give a shit about competition.
All right. Hold on. Ryan Blaney, is he going the next round? Is he going to the finals?
You know, I said a couple weeks ago he was going to be one of my first eliminated. I think he's into the final 4.
All right, so we're both on Chase. We're both on Ryan. How about you pick the next one?
I like Blaney getting in.
Who's your third guy in?
I would say my third guy in, it's got to be Denny Hamlin, right?
You talk about why it's Hamlin. I want to make sure. I'm on the fence.
Here's why it's Denny Hamlin. First of all, he ran extremely well at Vegas when we were there in the spring. Toyotas are really good at 1.5 miles, as we found out. And so I think whatever his cars were doing at Kansas and the other Toyotas were doing at 1.5 miles, he's going to put into that FedEx freight and find a way at Vegas. His best track on the circuit is hands down Martinsville. That is, I think statistically, that is his best track on the circuit. Plus, he's just really good at Homestead as well. Had there not been the pit crew problem, the tape being put over the grill at Homestead a few years ago, all those different things, he probably would have won a title by now at Homestead because of how well he ran at that place. So the 3 tracks that are in this round really suit Denny Hamlin well.
All right. I've made my decision. My third guy is Christopher Bell. My fourth guy is Denny Hamlin.
Bell. Why Bell?
Christopher Bell is. You can give me shit for this take. You can prove me wrong in statistics. I am positive you can. That's the best 6-race stretch Christopher Bell's ever seen. Okay. I think Christopher Bell clinched his way out of the first round on points. He had a bad race. He raced at Talladega. That was the 2 before this. He had a must-win situation today. His crew gambled, and it paid off, and he won the race. And they recognized that this is what we need to do. On multiple occasions, big risks. He pitted like 10 laps before everyone else did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 5, but felt like 10. Long track. Christopher Bell and his team right now, I thought that was execution at its finest. And that completely impressed me. I think they're going.
Okay.
I got Elliott, Hamlin, Bell, and why do I always do this?
Blaney.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm staring at his name right now.
My fourth pick, it's a toss-up right now. I don't think a lot of people are talking enough about Joey Logano, and I think that's because of the Ford deal. I think, with Ford's just not being as consistent, as good right now in this year, I think a lot of people aren't talking enough about Logano.
It's because the only races he can win are the tracks that no one's been to.
Well, that's true.
Bristol Dirt, the Clash.
So we haven't been to Homestead this year, so he's got a chance for that one, right?
Oh fuck! I played myself.
I don't. So it's tough to say, but again, 2.5 miles in a short track, and I think the 2.5 miles Ford hasn't been fantastic at. They qualify well, they just can't race well. So I think the guy though that I'm going to take for my fourth is William Byron, and I think because of Martinsville and Homestead coming up, winner at Martinsville earlier. I know that was a lot of track position stuff, and I understand that. But he won the truck race the night before, and then he won the cup race that night, the next night. So give me Willie B in that last one. Plus, you go to Homestead, and the guy dominated at Homestead last year. I know it's a different car and everything, but the technique's a lot of the same. But I really think I think Byron gets a ticket to Phoenix as well.
William Byron and Tyler Reddick are always my picks when it comes to a track where you can run the high line all the way around.
See, it's for me, it's always Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson. You can
talk about Byron and how well he does that. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I'm just saying, well, you can put a piece of paper in between the wall and the car and it stays there the whole time. You know that you're doing something right.
Do you, I never asked you about that. Do you agree with the debris caution?
No.
No?
No. They had it picked up before the caution was even thrown.
I did see that after, but I don't know. I just didn't know if that was
somebody in the stands confirmed that.
Okay.
They said that there was people out there picking it up as the caution was being thrown. So yeah.
You pulled a guy's credential last week for chasing a tire to the infield, but this isn't. I don't know, man.
They let him back into the facility. I think he was back. I don't think they suspended him or anything. That guy that got.
I hope so. Usually when they do that, you're suspended indefinitely. I'm glad they did that. I guess that was under green flag because I was covering, I think, a college football game when that happened.
Yeah, but it's dumb that they throw that, which we knew was going to be the case. Like you just knew. I'm surprised that they didn't throw the caution when LaJoy and Suarez spun on the front stretch. I thought that was when they were going to throw it and pull the quick trigger, but instead they have a sign apparently that was in the track the lap before. Then it stayed there, and that's when they threw the caution. So I'm not entirely sure on that. Can't confirm it, but apparently it was on the track the lap before, and then they decided to throw the caution the next lap to go pick it up. And it, in my opinion, was the reason for all sorts of dumb chaos at the end. And it's back to NASCAR creating entertainment instead of competition.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, hell, it took a win away from your boy.
Yeah.
Either one of them.
Well, Tyler Reddick did that.
Either one of them, it took a win. No, it would have been after the caution that Tyler Reddick did that.
I'm just confused, and I'm not calling them a liar. I'm not calling you a liar. I'm not. I think the thing was probably picked up, but first of all, why is that not a wrap? My dad said that. Why is that not a wrap on the wall? Why is it plastic boards that have to be glued to it? And did you not use Gorilla Glue? It's the strongest glue for a damn reason. Okay?
Nope.
Use it. Use Gorilla Glue. I love Gorilla Glue. It is so much fun to play with it and just stick things to stuff, and they never come off. It's great.
Good to know. I use Gorilla Glue too, but they don't.
Yeah, use a wrap. Use a wrap on the wall. What are we doing here? Why are we? You're in the NASCAR capital of the world. You don't have a wrap service next to you?
No. More money.
Hard to believe.
More money.
Hard to believe. Yeah, I was surprised they called the caution too. Um,
Just
and
go pick it up. Like if it's out there, the field's so spread out, it's not going to change anything. And now at this point, you decide, nah, we're going to throw it. And so let's change the entire trajectory of this race. It was already bad. You were 5 laps away. Let's just finish it and get everybody's misery out and get them out of there and let them go home. Instead, we
I
sat there for a
honestly,
half hour.
I just want them to, hire like I assume they have someone that heads officiating and stuff. And
No, it's different people that call the race every week. And now they have committees on throwing cautions. Listen, you should go back to that the All Star race fiasco and listen to the door bumper clear from the All Star race, like either the week after or the following episode, whichever one. They talk about the committee that NASCAR now has with their calling the caution flags.
okay, I just wrote it down. I'll go listen to it this week for sure.
It's so dumb. It's getting officiating this year has probably been the worst NASCAR has had in a really long time, and that's saying something.
No, it definitely has. Are we going to get accused of being the blame the refs fans by Iowa fans?
I'll take it at this point.
Okay, all right. Damon's wrong with it. I like it.
I'll take it on the chest. This it's bad. NASCAR officiating has been absolutely atrocious this year.
Y'all, if y'all have known me for 5+ years and in the next 5 years to come, pay attention, I guess, if you didn't. But I'm a guy that I've watched poor calls go one way. I was a student journalist once, and I tweeted about a blatant pass interference, and I was told by my editor to delete it. And that was like one strike on my job. And I'm like, I'm not getting paid for this. What are you talking about? Like, it's a blatant missed call. And that was a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
I quoted a tweet with a video. And it's like, I will always comment if there's egregious officiating calls going on. This one, I wanted to see Damon's opinion first because I was probably more 50-50 on it coming in. But as I've now heard, I'm probably more 95-5. That was a terrible call. You can say something's a terrible call and not say it impacted whatever. I think this one absolutely impacted the race.
Directly.
It was a bad call. Yeah. So I hate when journalists just refuse to. They're just like, well, I'm not in the business of blaming refs. Well, you're not. You just comment if it's a bad call. If you comment what you think.
If it's a bad call that directly changes the outcome of an event, you have to tell it the way it is. There's been so many times across sports that that's the case. And today was just another example of it in the NASCAR world. Unfortunately, we've seen that how many times? The All-Star race is like front and center cover page of piss poor NASCAR officiating this year.
All right. And that's why next year's All-Star race and making sure this offseason there's some changes to the car. Having this car at North Wilkesboro would be bad. So you gotta fix whatever's wrong with it. Whatever you do, put a giant 1970s Dodge Daytona wing on the back. I don't care. Fix what you need to fix.
Put a 1970 Dodge Daytona engine. Put a Hemi underneath of it and let them rip.
I'm with Damon on this one. Let's just race 70 Dodge Daytonas.
I think if we're gonna go back in safety, we might as well go back in cars. Let's go back and grab the fucking 86 Buicks and let those things rip.
I should have muted my mic and just let you go.
Oh, that was it. If we're gonna go back in safety, let's just go back all the way. Richard Petty's arms flying out of the car. We got to have that happen again because we don't give a shit. We're in it for entertainment.
That was fantastic. All right, got a couple more questions here. We're gonna get to all of them.
Okay.
Motorsports Maniac says, can't forget about the Team As interview. Thomas Messerol last night after the USAC midget race. I did not see the race live. I was writing about the Cyclones and their loss to K-State, third straight Big 12 loss. Great weekend for me and Damon. He says after the race, he gets on the microphone at the track on flow, audio broadcasted to both the audience there and the broadcast audience. He says Cannon McIntosh. Without saying POS, he said basically that. He said he's never going to drive for anyone but his dad because he throws, he instead of dive bombs, he just said cannonballs. He said his car owner has had all his cars this year taken out by Cannon McIntosh. He ripped them for like 35, 40 seconds. It's one thing if Kyle Larson said that. It's another thing if Donnie Schatz said that. It's a third thing if Buddy Kofoid said that. But some of these guys bitch like every month. And without seeing it, without seeing how egregious it is, I just don't know, like, I don't trust Thomas Messerol going off on someone to it being the biggest thing ever because he's done it 5 times this year.
Messerol himself has, you mean?
Yeah, and that's fine. I like that he's real. I'm not bitching about that. I'd rather have a driver that says when he's pissed off, and I think it's entertaining too. I don't trust me. I'm not. It came off like I'm hitting on Messerol there. I love that he's real and he's going to say something when he's pissed off about stuff. Does it make people like him? No. At least drivers against him. And that's, he's being real about it. It makes fans like him.
I think USAC's got a driver problem on their hand right now.
I think they do too, but I think the only way you fix it is if you up purses, and I don't think they have any bearing to up purses at all because they would have done it already.
I don't think you up purses. I think you start throwing suspensions. I mean, you've got guys that are.
Damon, they can't. No. Damon, hold on. I would start harping on USAC if they started throwing suspensions for stuff like that because they don't pay their.
If you got a USAC inherently is talented.
USAC inherently does not pay talented drivers what they're worth, and that's why Kevin Thomas Jr., Chris Wyndham. God damn it, I'm doing it again. I'm forgetting stuff. I'm going to work on this. ADHD kicks my ass a lot of the time, and I get ahead of my words. So I'm thinking about the way I'm going to say something rather than the names I'm going to bring up. But there's been a ton of, I almost had it. Who drove the 19? Tanner Thorson? There you go. Chili Bowl Nationals winner, not in a midget right now, not racing a car right now. It's insane. Talented driver. USAC doesn't pay what you're worth. That's why these guys are moving from non-wing sprint cars over to World of Outlaws, ASCOC, 410 sprint car action.
Is it fair to say that, yes, some of it has to do with purse problems, but overall, USAC as an entire organization has screwed up yet again, and now you have drivers that basically can buy rides and are just bad drivers, and it's creating this where good drivers just want to leave because everybody that's around them is wrecking them, because that's been the name of the game this year.
Don't let me come off as like I'm saying your whole statement sucked. The one thing I had a problem with, I agreed with everything else. You don't think people buy rides in the 410s?
No, I think they do.
Okay. You saying it's more, overwhelmingly more in USAC?
I think it's easier to buy rides in USAC.
Yeah, I think it is too. It definitely is. The national schedule is Indiana, Ohio, Indiana, Iowa, Indiana, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Indiana.
I think we get it.
Indiana one more time, Indiana, and then California.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that was a joy to listen to. I really do.
No, it was awful. I wanted to hang up.
I threw an Iowa in there, and I shouldn't have because they didn't go to Knoxville this season.
Right.
But you get the point. Like it is easy to do because it's more of a localized series, and I miss the days where guys were graduating from USAC to go to IndyCar racing. I think there's talented guys there, but I think other dirt series have passed them up in the process. And what didn't come with that is the dirt connection to IndyCar. And I think that's hurt IndyCar. I think it's hurt USAC. I think the split hurt everything. And we're looking at the times and amount of years it's going to take to bring that back. And what are we, Damon, 15 years out of it?
No, it's at least at the very least.
And we're still not back. So 17, 7. Yeah, 18. 18 years out of it, I think.
There you go.
04, 05. I forget which year IndyCar came back as a series. Yeah, so I just think USAC's being passed up completely by the World of Outlaws and other dirt racing series, Lucas Dirt, everything, man. Like, it's just.
Well, yeah. Absolutely it is. I don't personally, I don't really consider it a big time series personally.
I consider it one, but I don't.
I consider the All-Stars a bigger series than this.
Okay, I'd put them closer to the same level, but I'd probably side with you that All-Stars are bigger.
I mean, it just the way it is, I think it's better.
Okay, I think we've said what we need to say about that.
Yep. On to the next one.
All right.
Rattle these off here.
Well, there's two more, and the last one's more of a comedic relief thing at the end that we're going to do.
Sounds good.
How about Corey Day sweeping the Cotton Classic and Maury Williams Memorial at Colorado Speedway in California over the weekend? He's easily one of, if not the best young talents in sprint cars. It depends on where your line is for young on what my rankings would be. But super impressive out of him. I want to get really into California stuff next year. I'm just not. I need to prepare and go into the start of the season because I hate missing stuff. So I had seen that he won, but sweeping the weekend's always big. That's huge. I think that kid's going to be really talented too, just like Ryan Timms, just like Buddy Kofoid is. I wish Buddy Kofoid would get a national tour kind of ride that isn't the USAC midgets because I think it gets overshadowed a little bit, but he's been doing phenomenal there.
I think Buddy's going to ARCA soon.
Let him go win a cup championship. Let's go.
I do. I mean, I think he took a hit with KBM.
5 years from now,
Toyota.
5 years from now, pick 2 out of 3. William Byron, Alex Bowman, Buddy Kofoid.
To do what?
For Hendrick Motorsports rides.
5 years from now?
Yeah. Oh, are you assuming that Landon Castle's going to be racing the 24 car in 5 years? Oh, okay.
No.
I didn't know what the eye roll was for.
No, I think the guy that drove the 48 today will be in that car soon.
Ooh. In Bowman's car?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I like Bowman, but I think between the more recent stuff that is going on as far as the concussions go, once you get them, they're tough to crawl back out of. Ask Dale Jr. So I think 5 years from now, I think Noah Gregson's in that car. So to take it, I think it's one driver is out of those 3 is going to be Byron. I can't take 2 out of those 3 because Buddy's a Toyota guy still.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens.
Buddy's a Toyota guy, and that's why I think that's why Kyle Busch going to Chevrolet is going to hold Buddy back another year.
Okay. What do you think? Why do you think Buddy's going to ARCA racing soon?
Because one, it's been kind of what I've read. It's kind of been rumored that it's going to happen sooner than later. He showed out in Kyle's truck at the dirt races this year. I just think that the opportunity will be there, especially now that Kyle is pulling Chandler Smith with him, essentially. since he's going to college, and going over to Chevrolet. So I think that now Toyota is going to have some openings coming up, and I
Yeah.
think that Buddy is one of their top guys in the pipeline.
There was my buddy was asking me about no pun intended, about who was left in the pipeline. I said Aaron Reitzel's still got his Toyota deal.
I don't think Aaron Reitzel's leaving the 8 anytime soon.
I don't think he is either, but I'd love to see it. He knows I'd love to see it. I don't think
Of course. No.
But I wanted to throw that in. But he's awesome. He's super smart. I've talked to him a couple times. He's a great interview. I should interview him more. I'm just don't find myself at the same racetrack he's at a lot, just circumstantially. I did. I want to throw this in, and this is a testament to how smart Buddy is. Mitchell Moles gave me a long quote, like a minute or two, about when Cannon McIntosh got DQ'd from that race win. Do you remember that this summer? So I asked
that was at
him,
Millbridge, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when it broke, it was the day before I got to Houston because I cut my chin up and I got there a day late. So I wanted to ask him about what he thought of it. He gave me a great quote about when guys put stuff on their tires, what the lab can come back with the test result, how almost random it seems. And he didn't side with anybody, but he gave me a great informational quote. I commend him for that. I think it was fantastic. And that's a great way to approach it. I'm not complaining about his way of approaching it. I certainly am not endorsing every driver to come up and say no comment to me. But he looks at me and he goes, I'm not touching that. No.
Yep.
And
I don't blame him.
I was laughing about it. I said, you're all good, man. Don't worry. And I don't think he thought I was like offended by it or anything, but it was just like an awkward, like we were both walking to the driver's meeting. And so I'm just sitting there walking next to him, like, you excited for the race?
My goodness.
I get in my own head too much, but I just wanted to throw that in there. He's a great kid. Fantastic talent. All right.
Very much so.
You ready for the last one?
All right.
I just wanted to talk about the Formula One race Saturday night.
The one that had more fiascos than last year's Coda?
That is correct.
Oh, my God.
All right, so Formula One likes to start races on time, and they like to start this stupid little caution clock, race clock type of thing they have. And it lasts 3 hours from the start of the race. So if you want to not have a standing start and you want to have a rolling start like every other racing series in the entire world does, except Supercross, sorry, and Nitro Rallycross, sorry. Those are crosses, though, different thing. Whenever they start a race, this clock starts. So it's pouring at Suzuka, and they start the race, and they let guys start on intermediate tires. Okay, that tire is already going against what the tires are designed to do. Every team wants to go to intermediates because they're faster. You make the rule that everyone starts on wets and everyone starts on wets. If they come in and get intermediates a lap later and then wreck, that's their own problem. You're relieved of what's going on there. But that completely did not happen. So everyone starts on their intermediates, huge crash. A lot of people almost go into Carlos Sainz, okay? Already you have a bad start to the race. They red flag it. Apparently there's a tractor on the course. So one of the drivers almost hits it. He complains. He goes, that could fucking kill me. All the drivers are sitting through this massive rain delay saying, you guys don't care about our safety. They had a guy go into a construction vehicle and pass away, and may he rest in peace, in 2014 at the same exact racetrack. And you almost had that happen again. Then to go back and say, oh, we're investigating if he was speeding during the red flag. That's, you put a tractor out there before you even threw the red flag. So what are you doing there? Okay, so after that, F1 implemented these rules last year after they had that race where they pace lapped for 2 laps and then awarded half points for results.
Yep.
Don't get me
They
started.
awarded half points again this way, didn't they?
Well, here's the deal. The race ended and it was supposed to be in the 25% to 50% bracket. So would have reached the half point mark, which is actually just the quarter mark of the race. They just had a debate afterwards and they're like, well, we've raced for 35, 40 minutes. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And everyone just, this is what I heard. I think they're doing this. No one knew how many points were going to be awarded for the result of the race. And then at the end, they're just like, oh, well, we raced for 40 minutes, but instead of awarding the half points, we're just going to award the race points. And Max Verstappen is your F1 title winner. He's going to win anyway. It doesn't really matter. Total clown show of how you handle a race. And people were comparing NASCAR to him today. I thought that was much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, they set a rule book. They're like, this is how many points we're going to award on how many laps we run. And then at the end, they're just like, oh, throw that thing out the window. We're just awarding all the points. It's good.
But are you surprised?
No, not at all. I just love hammering them. It's just fun to me. Because
I just want to make sure
people don't take into account of this stuff. And this is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport in the world. And I think IndyCar holds themselves at a far higher level in terms of officiating and how they put on their races and all this BS that we talk about compared to both Formula One and NASCAR. And I think there's a large gap between IndyCar and NASCAR. As NASCAR's proven, they've gotten further away in the last 6 weeks. And I think there's a gigantic gap after that. It's like off the top of the Grand Canyon, there's a little branch hanging there in the middle. That's NASCAR. And then down at the bottom, next to all the other dead bodies, the old USAC, they're down there. And now Formula One's down there.
I don't know. I think Formula One lended some of their higher ups to NASCAR's play calling here lately. So I think
that's what I'm saying. Like NASCAR's getting closer to Formula One, but they're not. I don't think they're halfway to getting there yet. Because this happens all the time in F1, dude. They have no rhyme or reason to what they do. And it ticks me off so much. You can watch, and part of it, chaos, right? But like, as I said in that tweet, the last 5 laps of that NASCAR race today, it was total desperation for some of these guys. Austin Cindric said he changed the way he drove because he's trying to get a result or something. And F1 takes that and they're like, okay, well, these guys are doing this and the race finally ends and we're just going to change the way we rule. You can't do that. It takes complete control away from the drivers in what they're doing and the moves they're making to try and get somewhere. It completely changes the worth of every move they're making. And can it change it in the positive? Yes, but if it changes in the positive for one person, it changes in the negative for another.
I got nothing to add to that.
Okay.
I don't.
I was gonna work more jokes into it, but you look kind of tired, and I wanted to wrap it up a little faster.
I got nothing to add to it because it's been mass chaos, and so I'm not completely surprised when I read it on Twitter. It's what they do best. It's because they have that stupid ass Netflix show that they got to keep getting viewers for so they can keep getting new race fans. Great for them that it's working, but at the end of the day, they're in it for the entertainment value.
Have you watched
a reality show?
Have you watched the NASCAR one yet?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. My dad is still pestering me to watch the Dillon brothers.
I will give him credit. The Dillon brothers one isn't awful.
Have we talked about that?
Yeah, we did. But it's not actually the Dillon brothers per se. It is Austin Dillon and his tire changer.
Oh, yeah. He talked, my dad talked greatly about how the people around them were funnier than he is. I'm just like, geez, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty, I'll give him credit. It's pretty good. I can't lie there.
All right, we will. We're gonna be back midweek this week, Damon. What do you think? Thursday night, Thursday morning. What's your Thursday look like?
I got to think about that.
Okay,
Not sure. Can't tell you off the top of my head. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
you text me if we're not. I'm working on travel plans and stuff, and I'm busy this week too. But we're gonna try to get together this week, record in the middle of the week, cover everything. Congratulations to Landon Castle. He's come back in the Xfinity Series next year. He's winning the title. It's my pick. I've got Landon Castle winning the Xfinity title and AJ Allmendinger making the championship four with Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Harrison Burton.
Okay, so you're going all in on college.
No, I think AJ is an elite driver. I thought that before he went to college. Landon's from Iowa. Harrison is a great interview, and I've talked to him many a times.
All right.
And I've talked to Kyle Larson a few times too.
Fair enough.
I don't think I've ever interviewed Chase Elliott, but I have interviewed Jeff Gordon. He tells me Chase is a great guy.
I'm sure he would. Jeff tells everybody that Chase is a great guy. Just listen to the last 5 years of Fox broadcasts.
Well, that doesn't ruin it.
Just saying. Just pointing out facts. I'm a fact checker.
All right. Well, thank you guys for taking the time to listen. We all appreciate it around here, and hopefully next. Oh shit, Damon, we didn't talk about Sammy Smith.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I just thought it was badass. That's my.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Go if you don't know what we're talking about. Go to the Twitter. It's got the video on there. That was a pretty cool burnout. So, I mean, there ain't a whole lot to talk about on that. That was just badass.
You're right. Also, shout out to Anthony Macri for getting his first World of Outlaws win at Port Royal and sweeping the weekend with the Outlaws. I don't have any other takes from that either, and that's why we didn't talk about it much because it is
not a whole lot with it. Yeah,
I did not expect him to lose badly. So, congrats to them. Appreciate y'all, and we will be back hopefully this week. If not, it's next Sunday. And thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.